again, everybody, and welcome to Retirement SOS. I'm Ernie.
And I'm Beth.
And today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of downsizing. Now, in terms of our situation, we're not quite ready to downsize because our daughter is starting her last year of her master's program. But we got thinking about it the other day and we thought, all right, let's have the discussion and let's list the pros and cons.
Right.
So the first pro of downsizing is obviously there is a big financial benefit. Let's face it, many of you live in big homes, are paying high property taxes, have a 4-bedroom home, maybe have 3 washrooms, and you've become empty nesters. So why are you paying money for the gas bill, for the electric bill, the property taxes? And you know property taxes due to the COVID situation, you know that next year in 2022, they're going to go up. It doesn't matter what city you live in, you know that the city that you live in is going to raise property taxes. That goes without saying.
Another pro to downsizing is less upkeep required on your home, which saves you an enormous amount of time that you can actually use enjoying your retirement. I guess if you had a lot of money and money was no object, sure, you could hire someone for everything from your lawn to cleaning to whatever. But for most people, maintaining a larger home takes a lot of time and a lot of finances as well.
And another pro is that if you move into a smaller home, it's gonna match your needs as you get older. Because let's face it, we live in a big 2-story home. We're fine with it right now, but as we get older, and I know I've talked to a lot of people, the first thing that goes are the legs. And then, you know, you have mobility issues. So a 2-story home is not favorable if you're getting older. Well, we all get older, but I mean, if you're a senior citizen. So really what you need is to downsize sensibly. Picture what you're going to be like maybe in about 10 or 15 years. Match the home to those needs.
Another pro of downsizing is that maintaining and renovating a smaller property is much easier and less costly. You may be able to even afford upgrades that you couldn't in a larger home, such as new windows or better appliances.
Kind of reminds me of the time when we lived in an apartment after we got married. It'd take us like around 10 minutes to clean up the apartment, and then we'd just be going downtown.
Yeah,
and
free and easy.
Yeah, I kind of miss those days, and I guess as we get older, I think that's a really big pro. And then another pro is that you finally get a chance to declutter. And you've probably been putting it off just like everybody else. I know we have. But this forces you to declutter because let's face it, if you're going to a smaller house, you're not going to have as much storage as you do in a bigger house. And not only do you have a chance to declutter, but when you move into your new place, you'll have a chance to organize everything, and that's a great advantage.
Yeah, and you learn how to sort of live more simply, own less, and live more. I guess that's the bottom line with downsizing. You'll have more time to do the things you love and shift your focus from accumulating stuff to making memories.
Right, and I don't think, you know, when you downsize and get rid of a lot of your stuff, yeah, you're going to miss it initially, but then after a while, you'll just forget about it and, you know, it'll just be behind you.
But there are cons, and so we'll list the cons. Do you want to start?
Yeah, let me start. I guess the biggest con, and it's very, very obvious, is when you downsize, well, you're downsizing, which means you're going to have less space. So in our case, we have a 4-bedroom house. Now, obviously, we're not going to need 4 bedrooms because our adult children will have moved out. So, you know, we've always been talking about 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms and a den, and that should do us fine. But you know, it's going to take some getting used to. Obviously, you're going to have a smaller kitchen.
There's definitely a lifestyle adjustment. You're going to have to change the way you shop, how you buy things, how you entertain.
Absolutely. And that lifestyle adjustment can also be a fun thing, because when you move into a new area, and it could even be a new town, you get a chance to discover new things. You know, you may find an iconic bakery or some beautiful parks. So it is a con, but you could also turn it into a pro very easily. So another con is that it may be hard these days to find that smaller property. Let's face it, back in the old days, there were bungalows galore. In fact, most people used to live in smaller homes. So really, when you were retiring, you know, sometimes you didn't have to downsize, but now it's pretty normal. So bungalows, as I said, are very hard to find in this city. We live in the city of Toronto. So you may have to make some compromises and maybe move into an apartment or move into a condo.
Or leave Toronto altogether. And that is another con in itself. Are you prepared to move to a smaller town away from family and friends? I mean, that can be a challenge. But you may be forced to if you want to stay in a small bungalow or a small home versus an apartment.
And even the amenities is like that you have in the big city. So as you get older, you know, you think in terms, well, am I going to be close to a hospital? I know that sounds very, very morbid, but let's face it, when you live in a city like Toronto, there's, you know, dozens of hospitals around. But in smaller towns, there just could be a community hospital, or the hospital could be 50 kilometers away. So that's another thing to take into consideration.
There's also the huge emotional aspect. We have lived in our house for more than 30 years. So our kids have never lived anywhere else. They've grown up in this neighborhood. So that's going to be hard one day to kind of walk away. There's sort of an emotional pull to be where home is, and home is where you've lived for many, many years. So that's a challenge.
Yeah, we've created a lot of memories here.
Yeah, we have.
Alrighty, so the discussion has begun. We're not quite ready, as you know, to downsize, but I'm really, really happy that we did the pros and cons. And I don't know, what do you think? Maybe within about 3 or 4 years? We'll
most definitely we'll be ready.
Yeah, and as you can tell, it's quite a task to downsize. You just can't do it overnight. And I'm happy that we, you know, wrote out the pros and cons. I think we developed a plan on what we have to do. And then the final step will be to implement it. So we hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.